These are the photos that were taken during the First War.
Hello, Swivelheads. This is Greg Allison with Swivelhead News, coming to you in the wee hours of Saturday morning on 11 March 23. Russian troops seem to be on the move. It seems to be they're expanding their invasions to a new country. It seems that they are invading into Georgia
again. And then again in 2008. In 2008, we had to finish liberating the country.
I am going to share with you Lee Wellbarger's channel. He just sent me notice of this, and we will watch this through his channel here. And I sent him a meeting invite if he wants to join.
I take that back. It just showed up on my map. Since 2008, Georgia has still not signed a non-aggression.
All right. So what we're going to do is hit the share button. Give me a second. Share screen. Tell him.
Always expecting the Georgians.
I shared the wrong screen.
We're not at all.
Stop share.
If it starts again, go.
Hang on, guys. That was my screen I shared. Pardon me. Sometimes there's too many windows up here. Get confused. Pardon me. Share screen again. That's it.
This veteran, like most men of fighting age in this country, keeps the means to defend himself in his home. These are my weapons and my uniform.
We're watching him.
This coat here I've kept because it reminds me of my first injury. It went in here and came out here. So I've kept the jacket as a souvenir. The weapons were always kept at home and I registered with the police. We didn't give them back after the war because no treaty was signed with Georgia. If one day there is a treaty, we'll hand them in. But for now, we always keep them close at hand.
He's got the notice on that. I'll span the screen here. So we're not watching this chat screen.
Some of the population may live resigned to the thought of renewed fighting. Abkhazia's foreign minister, Vyacheslav Chirikpa, tries to be reassuring.
So apparently Russian troops are on the move toward Georgia.
Which we were waiting for is security.
They're deploying toward the border, so the invasion has not started yet.
Over these years.
So update my screen here. I want to watch y'all's chat.
And thinking maybe tomorrow war. And we cannot. We can make our plans for future, for our families, for our personal career.
And just so you know, there are two B-52s over the Black Sea. It says there's only one, but B-52s fly in pairs.
That is legal.
So we've got 135s up. We've got 4J-10s still up. We've got both Brios up. Yeah, it's getting interesting really, really quick.
When the countries, European Union, US, other important actors understand that there's no way back to Georgia. There's no way, it's a non-starter. Like it's not possible to bring back Kosovo under Serbia or
George,
other places under, for example, East Timor under Indonesia.
Right, got a lot going on.
Point of no return. Then they will think, what to do next? To preserve the situation, no peace, no war.
As Lee is telling us,
destabilizing region, or to recognize political reality and say, yes, it's a country. Let's send their mission. They may understand that. Well, it's small, but it's working. It's
42 watches. Very good.
Functional, maybe, but not terribly stable. This summer, opposition demonstrations shook the capital for several days and cost the interior minister his job. Just 2 years ago, the previous president had been forced to resign too. It was a series of political crises against a background of corruption, unemployment, and poverty. In a bid to assert the legitimacy of this still fragile nation, authorities are gambling on promoting Abkhaz identity. Pupils at this school in the capital are learning traditional dance.
Okay, let's go. Come here, Renata. You go there. Nala.
Ready? All right, this is kind of like watching grass grow, it looks like. So the Russians are moving toward Georgia, the Republic of Georgia.
There's much more to this than simple folklore.
So he's playing some video back here, kind of a general cultural video in the area here.
Correct. Over the
Develops their sense
North
of
Sea,
nation
not over the
and their
Black Sea.
courage.
All right, he's
You can
showing
tell by the
our
way
military
they hold their
aircraft
upper body.
deployments.
It's totally representative of Abkhaz dance.
Right now over the Black
The
Sea, we got
dance
some
is
guys
very
going up here.
sensitive,
There's
very
another plane coming up from there. I
intense.
wonder what that's all about.
Instills
This is
mindset
activity
in them from
down,
infancy.
there's activity down here over the Black Sea, though.
That's why their parents encourage
I
them
was
to
going to
do
bed, but
it, so
instead
that they
I'm
develop
going
a
to the
sense
kitchen.
of pride in their country.
Such nationalist sentiment is reinforced from an early age, so these children might grow up to be the best possible ambassadors for Abkhaz culture.
When we go and dance abroad, we're showing them that small countries like ours do exist. So perhaps in the future, when these foreigners whose countries we have danced in come to Abkhazia, they will see that we have a culture.
If Lee is in the right atmosphere of friends, he'll be able to overcome his bad attitude. We need to remind him that, oh, okay, Arnold.
Prohibited during the Stalinist era, it's now trying to gain a place over Russian, the country's official second
So
language.
this evening, thank you, Snow Raven. So they got a cultural background in the area right now, video running.
Teaching of Abkhaz in schools.
So that's not
Sweet
copyrighted.
pepper. To me, it's my mother tongue. But that is far from being the case for all Abkhazians. So we really need to raise the level because, after all, it's the national language.
I hope Lee's not playing copyrighted material.
The stream flows through my mother tongue. The heart of the sea beats through my mother tongue.
Lee's channel's not monetized. You forget some of our channels are monetized, so I can't watch
In the
everything he
region,
watches. I
also
don't know what
has
he's
large
watching
Russian,
here.
Armenian and Georgian minorities. Only a third of the population is Abkhazian.
Before the Soviet era, all Abkhazians spoke Abkhaz.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it down because I don't know what kind of video that is. I don't know if that's something we want to have playing. That could be an issue for us. Hey, Dan, how you doing? Yeah, it looks like things are heating up. Looks like the Russians are on the move. They're putting troops on the border of Georgia. You know, they want to take Georgia back. They want to take Moldova. These are countries that are not in NATO that used to be in their sphere. As we know, Stalin was actually from Georgia. I don't think they sung Georgia on my mind in that area. Russia is going to open a second front. That's possible. It's not exactly what we expected them to, but maybe that's why they would go that way, because there's sort of the expectation is least. Perhaps. I don't know, guys.
These sorts of revenue.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that cultural stuff. That could be a problem. I don't know if that's a copywritten video. I don't know who that's from. Space Girl, how you doing? You know, I'm gonna have to go to Lee's chat and ask if that video is copywritten. And I'm gonna go over to his channel and ask him. If it is, I'm gonna bug out. Lee is that document. It could be a government program. If it is, it's safe. Documentary. I can't spell. Problem when you're an engineer. Spelling is not your strong. So is that documentary copywritten? I'm gonna turn on his video where I can hear him respond to
But I
me.
think of it as Russia.
If the Russians feel at home here, it's because they represent over 90% of the 1.5 million tourists
Oh my
who
God,
flock
he's
to
wearing
the
a
beaches of the
bikini.
Abkhaz
Yeah.
coast. For Asta, though, That kind of dependency is a problem.
That's not our choice. Without the recognition, people from, for example, from Europe, they don't know at all about Abkhazia. They don't know that this country exists, even exists. And even if they know, they have lots of restrictions to come here, from Georgia, for example.
With a trickle of finance coming in from Russia, the area is developing slowly, but still some have been left behind. Now a minority, Abkhazia's Georgians are treated as second-class citizens.
Ah,
Their homeland.
Greg,
and some of
it's
the
from a
country's
company I've never had an
cities
issue
time,
with.
as if the war had just ended.
never had an issue.
Sure it is, but I've never had an issue.
Every
with it.
word is monitored and controlled, and nobody dares say anything in front of foreign cameras. Most of the 250,000 Georgians who fled the war and its aftermath sought refuge in Georgia, a few kilometers back from the newly imposed border. Like Raul, Kaha, and Tariel, they stay in contact with their relatives on the other side of the bridge.
The Georgians who still live there are forced to learn Russian and Abkhaz.
Unmuted, we're to hear Lee.
In Georgian, or to say
Now, he responded for a minute.
the ones who have stayed there are persecuted and intimidated. If they tell the truth, people threaten to harm their children or burn their houses down, and so they pretend to be happy.
Correct, but they've never sent me a copyright. My point.
Nevertheless, these men, with their belief that Abkhazia will always be part of Georgia, believe in a common future.
We and the Abkhazians don't really hate each other. We could quite happily get on if it wasn't for Russia. What I want more than anything else is for the Russians to leave, and then we can get on with things, get on with each other and prosper.
For now, it seems the only way for Abkhazia's development to take off is on Russian wings. That kind of dependency may protect the country from Georgia, but it keeps it isolated from any kind of relationship with the rest of the world.
Yes, that's what's happening. There's a lot of these countries that were in the Soviet sphere that the Russians moved a lot of their people into or had other relationships with, aside from the main people in the country. So you got a lot of ethnic minorities in various countries that tend to favor Russia. So that is what's apparently happening here, and Russia's taking advantage of that, and they're poised to use that as an excuse to invade.
All right, folks, so for those of you who are just joining us,
Here we go.
troops have been put on alert in Abkhazia,
Abkhazia.
the Russian troops. There's lots of them. And for all of a sudden, there are a shitload of aircraft flying into the area. As you can see on the map here.
Yeah, Joe, how you doing? Yeah, Joe.
Actually, it's more than this. We just didn't track all of them, didn't think it was necessary. But you can see the flow. Interesting why all of a sudden there's
Kenny,
this
thank
many
you.
planes
Appreciate
flying.
that.
They have 1 million visitors a year, but gee, this is an awful lot for a Saturday morning.
Thank you for the super chat, Kenny.
More research in the background. I'll get back with you when I have more.
It was once known as the Soviet Riviera, a major holiday destination for the elite, holidaymakers flocking to Abkhazia, then a region of Georgia. But with the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991 and Georgia declaring independence, Georgia sent troops there to stop it breaking away. Fierce fighting only ended in 1993, with Georgian forces expelled, and later in 1999, Abkhazia formally declared its own independence. Then in 2008, Georgia accused Russia of planning a military intervention. Russia sent several hundred unarmed troops into Abkhazia, saying they were there to replace
Gotcha. Who cares? Who cares? Not me.
In Georgia's other self-declared states, South
Well, that's one of the whole
Russia
points of this.
openly moved its troops into both regions, and the tanks even
Georgia was
rolled into
part of
Georgia
the
itself. Then in
Transcaucasus
September, France held the presidency of the
Socialist
EU,
Federal
then French President Nicolas Sarkozy
Soviet
brokered
Republic,
a deal
yeah.
with the Russians.
Then from the Georgian Soviet Socialist Republic until the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Very good background there, Patrick.
Dans une semaine, le checkpoint démantelé. Dans un mois, les forces militaires russes en dehors du territoire géorgien, à l'exception naturellement de l'Ossétie de l'Abkhazie.
Well, the deal was then taken to and eventually accepted by Georgia. But shortly afterwards, Russia then recognized both breakaway regions as independent states, the move strongly condemned in Georgia and the West. Well, since then, the old tensions remain, but life goes on, Russian tourists even beginning to return. 8 years after the conflict then, how does the area, which is only recognized as a country by 4 others in the world, actually survive? Well, Pierre Lascar and Ileoni Schultz from Bowsy Productions revisit Abkhazia for France 24.
Reaching Abkhazia isn't for the faint-hearted. Crossing from Georgia into this small, self-proclaimed republic has to be done on foot, since cars aren't allowed through.
Wow.
It's about a kilometer walk across the shattered bridge until you reach the frontier post controlled by the Russian army. A mountainous region in the heart of the Caucasus on the eastern Black Sea coast, Abkhazia was once a popular Soviet holiday resort. The promenade in the capital, Sukhumi, was a well-known feature. But just a stone's throw from the seafront, the scars of the war remain, etched across the walls of the city, as much as in the souls of the 240,000 inhabitants of the country. Almost every man here fought in the conflict to break away from Georgia.
These are the photos that were taken during the First War. This is the book that was written about us. And this is a portrait of me. It was given to me as a birthday present.
72-year-old Gary has twice been to the front to defend this small slice of the Caucasus. First in 1982, and then again in 2008.
In 2008, we had to finish liberating the country, which was still partly occupied by the Georgians. My old comrades in arms asked me to go back to the front because they knew I'd fought in the First War. I was already more than 60 years old, but I couldn't say no. I went.
Since 2008, Georgia has still not signed a non-aggression pact. So for Gary, the threat is still clear.
That's true, Arnold.
We're always expecting the Georgians to attack at any time. We're not at all comfortable. And if it starts again, I go, of course.
He's in the 70s and he'd fight. Now, guys, here's something that's operative about all these little wars. Why are we getting involved?
Fighting age in this country keeps the means to defend himself in his home.
There we go.
These are my weapons and my uniform.
Amen. I'm surprised that Lee is happily covering that because these guys are obviously on the Russian side.
So I've kept.
All right, holy shit.
The
Russian Federation just put out a tweet. It says protests against foreign agent bill erupted in Georgia, resulting in demands for the resignation of the government. We recommend to the Georgian people to recall a similar situation in Ukraine in 2014 and what it finally led to. And then hashtag think twice.
It sounds like a warning for an invasion of Georgia.
While some of the population may live resigned to the thought of renewed fighting, Abkhazia's foreign minister, Vyacheslav Chirikpa, tries to be reassuring.
For the first time from from 1990s, we got the main thing which we were
Yeah, I told Kenny
waiting
thank
for.
you.
It's security. So
I saw the super chat. I told Kenny thank you.
Security, which we didn't
Appreciate that.
have all these years. So now we're not afraid to go to bed and thinking maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely told Kenny thank you.
We can make our plans for future, for our families, for our personal career.
5,000 Russian military personnel are stationed in Abkhazia, a safeguard established after the
Now,
last.
Patrick was right. Lives under the nuclear sword of Damocles, hanging by the slenderest of threads, capable of being cut at any moment by accident, miscalculation, or madness. Now that applies to all of us, not just these people there. Peace, not war, I agree, Snow, we're at Raven. But we do. We live under a nuclear sword of Damocles, hanging by the slenderest of threads, capable of being cut at any moment by accident or miscalculation or madness. I think there's a lot of madness in the world today. It's like a convenient excuse. Yeah, they're probably hunting an excuse. Address before the General Assembly of the United Nations, 1961. Oh, that's where it comes from. Oh, we're there today more than ever.
This summer, opposition
Yeah, I acknowledge them.
the capital for several days.
Sure did.
The Interior Minister
I appreciate that. I really do.
Just 2 years
Yeah, this
ago,
channel has just got monetized. I doubt if I can list this video here to be monetized, because I really, despite what Lee is saying, I think this video would get me in trouble if I put this, but I can still get super chats. It still works. He will play stuff that I would never play.
In a bid to assert the legitimacy of this still,
He plays a lot of stuff I never play.
authorities are gambling on promoting Abkhaz identity. Pupils at this school in the capital are learning traditional dance.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, we've seen this video.
You go there.
He just started this video. This is a replay. He's replaying this video. The UN needs to go away. I agree with that, New Days. We don't need no stinking UN. They want all nations to be at war. Exactly. All right, here's this quote. There's a tweet.
For teacher Tamila, there's much more to this than simple folklore.
Yeah, we don't need to listen to that video. All right, there it is. That's what Lee's talking about right there. So there's a good chance that Russia is going to invade into Georgia. And we're in really no position to do anything about it. So this war looks like it's broadening in fronts, perhaps. And the question is, how does NATO react? Why should they react? Why should we be part of it? Are we going to throw billions more money in this direction too? I don't know, guys. Are we going to deplete our munitions so we can't be ready to deal with the Chinese? We're going to be in war in China in a couple of years, guys. Most likely. Are we going to be depleted when that war starts? Did I just get timed out? To me, Gaucho, you're not timed out now. Did you get timed out earlier? I didn't see it. Let's scroll back. The last thing I saw from you, Gaucho, was you say, "Hey, Greg, you know what I mean?" And I don't see any other comments in here. Maybe an internet issue. No, I don't see where you made any other comments, Gaucho. And Israel. Oh, yeah. Well, Israel is looking to get into it with Iran. Saudi Arabia was on their side, but Saudi Arabia switched sides thanks to our president. Yeah, we're in a pickle, guys. This could easily go into a full-scale world war. Yeah, and Klaus would love nothing better. Give me liberty, give me, yes, Patrick Henry, amen. Says Patrick Bellamy, he's quoting Patrick Henry. All right, Patrick Henry, another great redhead, just like George Washington, just like Thomas Jefferson. Redheads rule. Anyway, Patrick Henry. Jeff Kennedy Nixon televised debate. Oh, that was on your birthday? Wow. Africans don't overwinter here, but pilgrim bees went wild. Pilgrim bees. So pilgrim bees kind of like living bass. Are they aggressive like African bees? I don't know. Pilgrim bees. What is that? Is that the bees from Utah? Pilgrims? Utah, I suppose, they always have the beehive state, right?
Comes from Russia, which pays the salaries and pensions of civil servants. A huge task. It's reflected in the size of the future Russian embassy. More often, though, most of the Russians here are increasingly those with aims other than diplomatic. Tourism has become the country almost its only source of revenue.
There's Willard.
Lee's pet possum.
In Pitsunda, one of the country's main resorts, Asta has profited
You got a
handsomely
possum
from
house.
renewed
Look at
growth.
that. Possum water, possum kibble.
Actually, we have, my family owns 3 hotels. So the smallest one, it's in front of us.
Africans are almost as mean as pilgrim bees. You mean pilgrim bees are worse? Where do these pilgrim bees come from? That's just a new one to me.
And the whole area is a building site.
So, and all this land, so they are planning to build here small hotels as well. So everything is in process. 2 years ago, there was nothing. As soon as Russia recognized Abkhazia, Russia became like a kind of a guarantee of the safety of the place. So for them, it's, it's more safe.
Y'all just really don't have to say anything.
So,
Everyone
some holiday
in this
makers
class
don't
knows
even
what,
forget that
yeah,
Abkhazia thinks of
going on.
itself as independent.
Well,
He has a
like it
few
here.
pets, I reckon so.
Water's super clean. It's the cleanest water in Russia. Well, yeah, it's Abkhazia, but I think of it as Russia.
If the Russians feel at home here, it's because they represent over 90% of the 1.5 million tourists who flock to the beaches of the Abkhaz coast. For Asta, though, that kind of dependency is a problem.
That's not our choice. Without the recognition, people from, for example, from Europe, they don't know at all about Abkhazia. They don't know that this country exists, even exists. And even if they know, they have lots of restrictions to come here.
Pilgrim bees won't chase you as far. Well, that's good to know. Well, they sting you as bad as African bees. Pilgrim bees are brought over from Germany. Little black butted meanies. Oh, how about that? That must be new, because the honeybee that is here, we've always called a European bee. He's replaying a video he's played earlier. And I don't know if it's copywritten or not. Probably is. There we go. Now that we can watch. You can definitely watch the possum. Possum's pretty interesting. Foxes don't fare too well in my yard. Yeah, because you got those goons. All right, we got Bugington Thunderwood. Russia must be getting some decent backing from Nina to have the resources to open a second front. Oh yeah, I got you. Replace the N with a C. That might be it. Well, Russia, see, the thing is, China needs things that Russia has. They're going to need energy and so forth. And they got to worry about us shutting down the Malacca Strait, which most of their energy resources go. So they're going to be more and more reliant on Russia. So Russia and China are swapping and trading. Until America goes away, then they'll go straight after each other. China will probably win. Yeah, if the bees are gone, we're in big trouble. Russia and Japan bees are calm. Okay. I have some more coffee. Getting cold. The downside of this big cup is coffee get cold in a hurry. I need to switch my smaller family cup. He's talking.
And if it wasn't for Russia, what I want more than anything else.
Kenny, thank you, sir.
And then we can get on with things. Get on.
Good. I'll send you another for in the future. I can't love to all be safe. Keep warm. Love your way. Well, thank you, Kenny. Man, you are awesome. Salute to Kenny. Kenny is awesome. Yeah, we do have some other pollinators. That's right. Bees are awesome. There's different species of bees. I think all the pollinators are having population problems right now, though. 13 hives made it through the winter. I got some bees in the back of my place, and apparently, I think all but one hive made it this winter, maybe two. Hey, Stray Kitten. Let's see if he's talking now.
But he gets a good understanding of it's a whole lot like Transnistria.
Yeah, it's like Transnistria. He's right.
So let's see what we can find.
On March 31st, 2022, the leader of the breakaway region from Georgia and the de facto nation of South Ossetia, Anatoly Bibilov, expressed the desire of the territory to hold a referendum on joining the Russian Federation. Bibilov and Russian state officials have been discussing the absorption of South Ossetia into the Federation in the past few weeks, much to the ire of Georgia, whose sovereign territory is in question. With the Russo-Ukrainian war continuing to Georgia's northwest, the timing of this move by South Ossetia couldn't be more contentious. As a result, the potential for old wounds to once again open presents itself in a region that is becoming
you're in Utah.
Unstable. We will look at why South Ossetia would want to unite with Russia and how this will affect an already tense situation.
Russian bees, there you go. Very nice, yeah.
It may surprise some to hear that the Ossetians have some of the most deviant histories and origins in respect to their Caucasian neighbors. The closest linguistic and ethnic cousins to the Ossetians are descendants of Scythians and other Eastern Iranic-speaking peoples located in Afghanistan and Tajikistan, most notably the Pashtuns and Pamirs. The Ossetians specifically are thought to have descended from the Alans, a later East Iranian ethnic group that inhabited modern-day southern Russia from the 4th to 12th
The Iranians are Caucasian people.
They started migrating southward into their current ethnic boundaries after the Mongol invasions and local rivalries with other Caucasian polities. The Ossetians reached these boundaries in full by the 19th century,
I would love bees.
when the entire region became part of the Russian Empire. After the collapse of the said empire into civil war in late 1917, the Ossetians became split between the Democratic Republic of Georgia in the south and Russian or Bolshevik control in the north, therefore never truly being able to taste independence after the empire's demise. This lack of autonomy led to uprisings and ethnic tensions within Georgia until Georgia succumbed to Red Army control in 1921.
You got family here.
The Ossetians in Georgia were given an autonomous oblast in 1922, 2 years before their northern counterparts received one in 1924. This new political arrangement gave Ossetians some cultural autonomy, though politically, like the rest of the Union, Moscow's rule was firm compared to local authority. Rising nationalism coupled with the collapse of the Soviet Union led to an all-out conflict between Georgians and Ossetians from 1991 to 1992. This conflict led to a peacekeeping force that kept the region tamed until 2004, when tensions began to rise again, with Georgia's new president, Mikhail Saakashvili,
legendary buddy, man.
Complete territorial
we may have a big bank crash coming.
Saakashvili's claims culminated in the Russo-Georgian War of August 2008, where Russia sent troops to aid South Ossetian separatists.
Black Monday.
It is important to note also
get the
that
bank
Russia
tomorrow. You might want to get your money out tomorrow.
I've already made a video explaining the Russo-Georgian War, which you should watch after this one. The war ended with Russian forces occupying the two regions of Georgia, with the self-proclaimed nations receiving recognition from Russia. The status quo has been largely uninterrupted since 2008, and South Ossetia keeps a tradition of friendly relations with its northern neighbor, even sending troops to aid Russia in its invasion of Ukraine. South Ossetia, sitting on the sovereign territory of Georgia, receives minimal recognition from the international community. They receive recognition from their lifeline Russia, but other nations have recognized South Ossetia. Syria, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Nauru have additionally recognized the region's independence. South Ossetia also enjoys recognition from other states with limited recognition, such as Abkhazia, Transnistria, and Nagorno-Karabakh. These regions have created the Community for Democracy and Rights of Nations, or a wannabe nations club. South Ossetia receives no real help or support from any other country besides Russia. Russian troops occupied the territory to prevent a Georgian recapturing, and the region is part of Russia's orbit as a result. The region's small population of 50,000 prevents them from having any serious political autonomy, and Russia essentially controls all political aspects of the country.
Got a good conversation in the chat room here about bees and
so
hornets.
Why doesn't South Ossetia just join
Wasps,
Russia?
murder hornets.
This question is complex, but it seems more likely that South Ossetians want absorption into the Federation
probably
by the
Rochelle.
day. There are several reasons for this. One of the
my
most
bank's up in the
prominent being
morning. I
that
think
they
I'm gonna
would
go
have
see 'em.
guaranteed defense from Georgia, as they would officially be part of Russia.
Ooh,
South
that's not
Ossetia
good.
would also enjoy greater integration into the Russian economy and political sphere, which could improve their economic prospects. However, how well they can achieve this is questionable due to the geographic separation South Ossetia experiences from the rest of the country. The Caucasus Mountains, at their highest point, delineate Russia's current southern frontier. As a result, the region would suffer from still being geographically separated from the Russian economic heartland and, therefore, would not succeed as much as it would like. The other primary reason for South Ossetia to be absorbed into Russia that comes to mind is their ethnic reunification with North Ossetia. After being separated for over 100 years, this would be a significant boost for the pride of Ossetians in general. There is serious talk about having South Ossetia join Russia as part of the North Ossetia Republic, which would aptly change its name to just Ossetia, or possibly more likely to Alania. A referendum on the matter could happen within 1 to 2 months, should negotiations go as planned. This event would mark another significant political shift in a region that is becoming increasingly unstable and would cause considerable backlash from Georgia and most likely the West by extension.
Crypto's crashing.
Because of
Let me
this
check it
reality,
real fast.
Russia is somewhat hesitant in allowing South Ossetia to join its federation, as the
Bitcoin
already crippling sanctions
down
on the country by the
too
West
much.
could be made even worse. As Russia continues to fumble in Ukraine, a simultaneous war with Georgia could
some of the
jeopardize
cryptos have
Russian
dropped
interests
pretty
in
good.
both countries, since Russia can
Not
barely
all of
deal
them.
with Ukraine alone. I predict that if the referendum comes to pass, the South Ossetians will undoubtedly vote in favor of joining Russia. However, I cannot say whether Russia will accept the referendum or not due to all these external factors. The referendum would be labeled illegitimate by Georgia and its Western allies. If Russia accepts the referendum, we can expect significant sanctions and a military buildup on the Russo-Georgian border. Decisions like these will determine how many years Russia will have left before its inevitable collapse. Sometimes the decisions that put Russia in a more powerful position in the present will inevitably wreck them sooner.
Well, irrespective of the countries and whatever, I think any people ought to have the right to determine what their country is. Any people ought to have the right to self-determination to be with whatever country they want to be with. So if somebody wants to vote to change in the region, I say let them go. That's what it ought to be like. It's freedom. They say, well, you're in our country because you're in our country. You've always got to be in our country. That's not good. I don't support that. So if the South Ossetians want to join North Ossetia and be in Russia, so be it.
After spending 6 incredible weeks in Siberia, after taking 2 separate flights, we finally arrived.
Funny, they get money, notoriety, etc. Don't believe the hype they could be wiped out. Hey, Lorraine Lemur, how you doing? Well, as far as over cons, yeah, I believe so. Silvergate crypto, that's the one that's crashed. You know, they're all down a little bit right now, but some, yeah, they're not all on tracking as closely as they usually are. I just checked a list of them.
For those attacks, however, they're using them because A, there's a lot of them, and B, air defense struggle to take out ballistic missiles. They go up into the stratosphere, some of them, and they're
Some of them are down significantly. If I scroll down more, I'm at the bottom or down. Yeah, the one you're mentioning is not even on this list. All wealth initially comes from land. One way or another. Some of that land may be underwater, like oil.
Sukhumi, the capital city of Abkhazia.
Got orange and black hornets. Sure that's not yellow jackets?
The atmosphere is relaxed and the conversation light.
The real reason we come here is to talk politics, and we talk for hours.
No surprise there, Dan, especially at election time. After the death of its president, Sergei Bagapsh, Abkhazia must elect a new leader. But polling day is not just any old day. 26 August is the same date as Moscow recognized Abkhazia's independence 3 years ago.
We have portraits of Putin and Medvedev in our homes. You can't imagine how much this day means to us. On August 26th, our dreams came true.
Abkhazia is grateful to Russia. It's like a mantra here. It's impossible to find dissenting voices, especially here among the supporters of Sergei Chamba, a former prime minister and presidential candidate. He's one of those who has helped build this friendship with Abkhazia's powerful neighbor.
I've achieved our main goal, which was to have our sovereignty officially recognized by Russia and other countries. As president, I'll do everything I can to ensure Abkhazia's well-being.
And Abkhazia's well-being depends heavily on Moscow. Links between the two have never been stronger. Russia has beefed up its military presence. On the coast and near the Georgian border, Moscow has 2 military bases housing 8,000 Russian troops and heavy weaponry. The bases are off limits to journalists and exist officially to protect the area from possible Georgian attack. And then there is business. Russian investors have injected millions of euros into this former Soviet resort area. Be it in social aid, infrastructure, and tourism, Russia's control over Abkhazia.
Yeah, I call them banksters. I call them bankers. I call them banksters, Arnold. They have marginal banking systems. Yep. Yeah, if they fail, they want to pass it off on us. I've seen both the bald-faced hornets, black and white, yellow. Okay. You got them all up there? Wachovia settled the biggest action brought under the U.S. Bank Secrecy Act. Why they gotta have secrecy in the banks? Should be wide open. Of course, in God is current currency. Same as currency area, precious metals, tangible necessities. Kenny says, Greg, I forgot how to spell thykol with solid rocket boosters. What do you mean there? THYCOL. Morton Thykol don't own that anymore. It's down north of Grumman. That's what you're talking about. But you're in Utah, so you're up there are you up there close to the rocket plant, Kenny? Promontory area? So I used to go up and stay in Ogden, and I'd go up to Promontory when they have meetings up there. Bingo, there you go, New Days. Secrecy because of the Bank of Organized Crime. The banksters, amen. The banksters. Well, this appears like there's some troops moving, but this is not an imminent invasion right now. Might be tomorrow, but they're not invading at the moment. Abkhazia, okay, yeah, that's that branch up there, I see. They are banksters and we bail them out. Yeah, it's too, yeah, they make their gambles, and when it turns south, we cover for them. That's terrible. All wars are banker wars, that's right. She said in one of her videos, New Days did. Yeah. Well, that's not a new expression, Arnold Smith. Some of us have been saying it for a long time. Our wars are banker wars. Kenny's up in Creature of Jekyll Island. Yeah, that's their whole Fed. That's how the Fed come out. My uncle and cousins and aunts live in Brigham City. Okay. Banksters. Mud daubers. Okay, Scooby Snacks. Are you mud daubers down there black like the ones up here?
148 hectares further into previously Georgia-controlled territory. So how did we end up here? We need to rewind to 2008 when Georgia and Russia fought a 5-day war. The breakaway regions were in a state of de facto independence and had Russian military support. As Georgia was eyeing NATO membership, Russia further increased its military presence.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try to monetize this video after all the stuff Lee's playing on here. I still get the credit from the super chats. I appreciate that. Appreciate that, Kenny. The only thing this video is going to earn, because I can't try to monetize all the stuff Lee plays. Oh my God. I know he's going to play all this stuff. Civil War was farmers versus bankers. Yeah, I think you got something there.
Some of them jailed for alleged trespassing. Sometimes there's no.
So you posted a vid on that, huh? Well, new days. When did you last post a video?
For example, is now considered.
Buried your sister today. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Someone who has been arrested and taken to South Ossetia.
Oh, Granny. Granny's been sick. Couldn't even go to her sister's wedding. Yeah, Patch. And then the first thing that very first official act of President Lyndon Baines Johnson was to undo Kennedy's executive order.
2 hectares of land that he can no longer access.
John Dillinger's, because that's where the money is. Wow. John Dillinger. The bankers rob us and they get away with it, right?
And the de facto authorities to stop restricting the movement of locals who risk losing their livelihood. It has also said that Georgia should provide financial support and look for opportunities to negotiate. But Russia has said its border guards are there as a part of an agreement with South Ossetia, and the border posts are there for safety. It also claims South Ossetia is open to dialogue with Georgia. And we have a stalemate because Georgia and the huge majority of the international community considers Abkhazia and South Ossetia its territory occupied by Russia. Georgia also says the borderization is Moscow's destructive and deliberate policy against them.
Ah, Lee's got premium on YouTube. Okay. Okay, guys, there's not going to be any troops rolling in to South Ossetia or the other republic there in the next couple of hours, I don't think. Russia is mounting troops down there. They're sending troops in, but some of those breakaway republics already has Russian troops in them. So are they invading Georgia proper outside of that? I don't know, guys. If that's going to happen or not. It might. That may be why they're sending troops down. Days. I posted that doc back 10 or 11 years ago. I've posted in a few years. I have new vids to upload. Just been holding off. You've seen a few clips. Okay. New days. So, guys, is this the end of the world music? Oh, is that what he's playing? I don't know. Let's listen. Oh, I'm not getting anything now. So, oh, I stopped the video. I don't know. That's probably copywritten. Oh, Lord. I think I'm going to end this video. Lee plays too much stuff that's copywritten. He's playing other content from other YouTube creators. I don't like that. I wouldn't do that myself. So I shouldn't be watching the channel that's playing that. He's not monetized, so he can get away with that stuff. It's not what I do. Now I'm playing his content, but it's for his agreement. That's a different matter. Georgian, all right. Then mess up your gallbladder. Cut her bowel. Oh my God. Granny, oh my Lord. Sad. So guys, I don't think there's any troops on at the moment. So you've already got the operative news here. I'm going to end this. Stop share. Bing. Yeah, I am going to minimize his screen. Keep it down there. So here's the deal, guys. Russian troops are on the move. They're moving in a wholly different direction. You know, they've got a lot of troops posted up around Poland, and Kaliningrad is full of troops. They got guys in Belarus, and they're making racket about Moldova. Apparently, Georgia's the next target because nobody's looking at it, huh? Woodpecker. Yeah, there used to be a, yeah, there you go, Anton. There used to be a signal that used to come out of Russia called a woodpecker. They thought that was used to communicate with their submarines. I don't think woodpecker's been on for a long time unless they just turned it back on. Greg, were never sleepers, never chippers, never. Yeah, so let's all pray for Granny Double tonight. Go to Galactic, Greg's. I was going to go there next. I had some other stuff I was going to play. It's getting late though. We may do Galactic Greg's next time. So guys, it looks like there may be an invasion at hand. It'll probably build up period. I don't know, guys. We'll just have to see. Will this cause more tension? Will this get NATO more pulled in? I don't know, guys. As this stuff starts spreading around, is Russia spreading themselves too thin? There's a lot of questions that I got no answers for right now. Russia's already, part of their problem, their first invasion of Ukraine was they spread their forces out too much. They didn't make a good concentrated effort to do what they were trying to do. Now that's from the standpoint of their maneuvers. I'm not saying they should be doing, I'm just talking about, you know, what caused them problems. Trying to stay out of taking sides here. Greg, Greg, I still may want to help you with your Arizona project. Hey, Kenny, I might be going to Arizona some after all. Hey, y'all, I appreciate it, guy. I'm for freedom and I'm for peace. You shouldn't have to fight for freedom. And if even in this country, if we broke up, we ought to have a peaceable divorce. But I think a lot of the division in this country is probably Chinese meddling. They probably played a big role in that, because they want to break us up. I've seen some articles about that later. They want to break the United States up. Yeah. Patrick Duga, Russian arc or curve. It's over the horizon. Radar. Okay. Hey, Colorado Jan. Granny, no, Arnold, she would want to be here with her kiddos. Yeah, of course. How old are her kids, Granny? Shalom. Hey, Red Lemur. Gone, huh? I think we're going to end here. So we see now, the news is this, and you got it in the first few seconds. Russia is poised. They're sending more troops in that area of Georgia. We'll see what happens, Arnold. There's nothing that we can do but watch prophecy unfold. Well, you know, I believe that, you know, we got free will, so even from God, so we can kind of affect our piece of that picture, how we land in it. Some things are going to happen. You might affect some aspects of it overall, but you know, what's willed is willed. Question is what's your piece of it? All righty, guys. Well, If that's that, be safe, Greg. Yeah, Kenny. So where in there are you are in now, Kenny? You're in Utah, but you're talking about helping with the. Who said this help with the Arizona project? Yeah, you said that. Okay. So you'd be willing to go down from Utah to Arizona? That'd be interesting. I actually got a job, kind of sort of a job offer regards to Arizona, right in Snowflake. But it's like a negotiable, flexible kind of a deal. Might kind of work out some. Who knows? I might be traveling between Arizona and Maine. Bing, 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 bing. That's a lot of distance, but might commute. I had a friend that commuted from North Shore, Alaska to Oregon twice a week. That's a huge commute. So, all right. Yeah, all the governments are bad. That's that payment. That's what I say. All the governments are bad. Don't trust any government. That's my bottom line. They're all rotten. They're all rotten, especially as they get out there. All right, Groucho, let's don't forget to pray. We got some people in here that are really needing prayer tonight. Stray Kitten, Granny. Granny is mourning the loss of her sister. She's got her own health problems. That's why she couldn't go. And her granddaughter, Kaylee. Our friend New Days has got upcoming procedure. So y'all remember that in your prayers. Now we're going to go. I'm going to go here. Turns on a dime. Boy, it sure does. Sometimes a split second. Sometimes everything's hunky-dory. You're just going down the road, and next thing you know, a big truck just hits you in the rear end. You know, where did that come from? Woodpecker not in use. It's the buzzer now. Okay, so yeah, I thought that woodpecker got turned off a long time ago. 40 miles north. Don't forget, 40 miles north airport flies direct to Las Vegas. Okay. Got that. How about to, let's see, how about to Phoenix? It's not a good airport in north that I know of in North Utah. I flew in and out of Phoenix last time. That was a 3-hour drive from Snowflake. 3-hour drive. 3-hour tour. So, New Days, what kind of ticket prices are there to go back and forth? Is that one of those Uber cheap tickets? That might be cool. That might be real cool. Life's a temporary schoolhouse. Well, I got a school bus, you knew. Yeah, life is short. Life is short. Very short. Man, seems like I ought to be just growing up. I'm just now beginning to learn the things I'd really like to know in all my life. Be nice to be 20 all over again. Yep, the problem with youth, what is it, guys? Who knows what the real problem with youth is? You let me know. Very good. Who knows what the real problem with youth is? Let's hear it. Somebody pipe in before we go. Stay from truckers. I used to be one. Car versus truck. Truck wins. Yeah, that's true. You don't want to get in a fight with a truck when you're in a car. Nobody knows what the problem with youth is. Which is 9th grade. Brains full of mush. There you go, man. That's a good choice. Oh, Lord, that's scary in time, but there's a lot of that. Stupidity. How about this? Try this on. The problem with youth is it's wasted on the young. Just when you get everything figured, just when you need it, you ain't got it. Isn't that cruel? Youth, it's wasted on the young. Immature, all that. Nobody goes outside no more. That's true. Lost youth from school. And they know everything. They think they do. It does go too quick. You're right. Too quick, too quick. All right, Madam got me. Amen. All righty, folks. Let's call it a night. It's wasted on the young. Exactly, Patrick. All right, guys. Thank y'all for watching. Kenny, thank you for the 2 super chats. You're awesome. And maybe we will hook up in Arizona. All right. My brain's full of deuce cognac. Did I say that right? I had cognac when I was in Moscow with really dark chocolate. That was interesting. That was interesting. The whole time I've ever had cognac. I'm not an alcohol drinker, by the way. I'm just not into it. It causes my heart to go brrr. Can't handle it. Greg, I know a few people in their 60s who look in their 30s. There we go. Boy, I wish I look like I'm in 30 years old. Maybe I hold my eyes wide. All right, guys. Thank y'all for watching. Remember, pray, prep, and pray so we survive another day. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Thank you much. Thank you.